Hi, I'm Richard Byrne. In this video, I'm going to show you how to access the new time-lapse imagery available in the web version of Google Earth. Google made a big announcement about this yesterday, and I've already gotten people emailing me, asking me, how do I access it, and what the heck do I do with it? So let's go ahead and take a look. I have the web version of Google Earth launched in my web browser right now, and you can see I'm centered on the United States because, well, that's where I live. So, in the left-hand side, we'll see we've got our standard menu, but we want to go into Voyager. Click on Voyager, and in the Nature category, we have time-lapse in Google Earth. Now, we also see this changing forest time-lapse in Google Earth, but this is the one we want to use for a more general time-lapse of Earth. So I'm going to launch that, and once it starts to load, we can go in and see the individual sets of time-lapse imagery within this larger collection of time-lapse in Google Earth. And we can see it's now running itself up here. I can pause it, but we can go into, like I said, one of these smaller collections or stories that are in here, including changing forests, warming planet, sources of energy, urban expansion. Let's look at urban expansion. That one's kind of interesting to me. And we can go and play this one here, starting in 1985 in Las Vegas. And again, we can pause it at any point, and we'll see that the imagery is changing. We can see that it's sprawling outward. And we can pause that. And we can go through and click the next location within this story of urban sprawl through time-lapse imagery. And again, we can back that one up. 1985, 1990, 1995, 2000, and pause it at any time. Now, if you want to jump out of that, just click the close button, and you can go back in here, go back into your time-lapse in Google Earth, and we can select a different one of these stories, or we can go into featured locations here in Google Earth. And we'll see 10 locations for agriculture, infrastructure, megacities, mesmerizing changes, natural disasters, urban growth, waterways. And we can click on any one of those and go through those sets of time-lapse images. Now, I'm going to pause that one more time. And I'm going to point out that Google also has a large collection of videos of time-lapse imagery, again, satellite time-lapse imagery, and you can watch it in your web browser, or you can download it, and if you download it, then you could reuse it in something like your own Google Earth tour if you wanted to. And speaking of Google Earth tours, the desktop version of Google Earth has for years offered time-lapse imagery. And if you're not familiar with how to find that, I have Google Earth Pro open. This is the desktop version of Google Earth that's available to anyone with a Windows or Mac computer. And in the top of the menu, you will see Show Historical Imagery. And you have a time slider there that you can use to go all the way back to as far as 1930 and all the way up to December 2021. Now, that time-lapse imagery is not available for all locations, but is available for a lot of locations in Google Earth. So that's how you can access time-lapse imagery in both versions of Google Earth. As always, for more tips and tricks like this, please subscribe to my YouTube channel or check out practicaledtech.com, where I have an entire self-paced course on how to use Google Earth and Google Maps in social studies